Welcome back to another episode of Belgian Beer and Beats. Episode number 7. And in today's episode, by popular demand, we have one of the finest Trappist beers, the Orval. Now, if you watch the previous episodes, you may see some Chimay, some West Vleteren, some Westmalle. So go ahead and check those out if you get a chance. I've been trying to be consistent and do at least one Belgian beer review per month. And in these episodes, you will also find a review of a record that I feel pairs well with the beer. And on occasional episodes, I might even make a beat. So with that being said, thank you all for joining me. Now let's talk about Orval. The Orval Abbey, once again, is a Trappist beer brewed by monks originally, now overseen by monks. So the brewery was created in 1931 to finance the enormous reconstruction works of Orval. It hired lay workers from the outset, including the master brewer. So he invented the recipe. There's a lot of history on Orval, and there's a lot of history on their logo, which is a fish holding a gold ring. I'm not going to get too much into the history though. Just know that Orval means the golden mouth or the land of gold, based on the story that represents this company and their logo there and the abbey. A bottle of Orval looks kind of like a bowling pin, like a little pin shape, and they only come in these 11-ounce bottles. So this is really all you're going to find from them is this one selection. They do not have anything else. Unless you go to the monastery, you may be able to find something that the monks drink. Usually these monasteries have beers for the monks that are a little bit lower in alcohol content. So it's a well-regarded Trappist ale. The brewing process is very unique, and they are bottle carbonated and fermented and conditioned inside the bottle. Unlike American beers that when you get them, they're already how they're supposed to taste. These Belgian beers are like wines. What I was reading in my research, that this particular beer is best around the 6-month mark. So if you look at the label, it will tell you when these were produced. This bottle here was produced on June 6th, 2024. So this is over 1 year old. And this bottle here was produced November 21st, 2024. So this is a 6-month bottle and this is a 1-year bottle. So if you're new to the Belgian beer aging process, when you go to these stores, Binny's, Total Wine, wherever you go, check the label on these and you will be sure to find an old bottle, because a lot of people don't know about these and they're just sitting there collecting dust. And that's a good thing. Sometimes you want these beers to collect dust, just like a bottle of wine. So the best flavor, as they recommend on the bottle, is up to 5 years. Some people age these for 15 years. I've even read online that some people age them for 30 years. But we will only have the 1-year bottle today. Unlike other Belgian beers and Trappist beers, the yeast that they use to produce this one here it's called Brett. It's a wild living yeast which creates a unique flavor when aged. So they call it the funky yeast. This yeast is unpredictable. It's unlike a traditional brewer's yeast. So that is why as these beers age, they can have a range of flavors, even a slightly sour taste. These bottles go for about $6 each. That's pretty pricey. So every episode I try my hardest to make sure I have the glass. And the reason this episode took so long to make is because my Orval glass was damaged in the dishwasher. Not by myself, but it was damaged in the dishwasher. So every episode I talk about giving some tips. So for this episode, my tip number 1 is do not put your glassware in the dishwasher. Hand wash them with warm water and just a little soap. And personally, I don't even do that, because if I'm only drinking Orval, I'll just rinse it out and just get all the foam out and just make sure it's clean. And then I'll wipe it down. As you can see, that is a very fine glass. One of my favorites. So I managed to get another one. It's got the little logo on the back. That's really cool. And then when you on the front has the Orval. I've also seen these in blue. I can't get my hands on one, but any Trappist beer is going to be served in a chalice, people. Please get yourself a chalice. Now, with that being said, we're going to take a little intermission and we are going to pour this bad boy up. But before you pour it up, make sure you take this out of the refrigerator. The refrigerator is 32 degrees. Let it sit for about 15 minutes. Let the temperature go up to about 45 degrees. And that is when you will have the best pour as well as the best flavor profile. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get this pour started. Okay, so when you are pouring an Orval, it's difficult. And I think that's why some people requested me to pour the Orval, because they wanted to test my technique. They wanted to see if the pour master can master the Orval pour. So wish me luck, because you are about to see a lot of head, and that is what you are supposed to see with Orval. There will be about maybe a 2-inch head. It could even go up to 2.5. It all depends on what's happening in the bottle. These are carbonated and they've been sitting around a long time. So let's go ahead and get this started, man. Let the air out slightly. And we shall pour the 1 year and the 6 month. I will start with the 6 month because I want to taste the fresher version, and then I will have the 1 year after that. So pour it on the side of the glass and let's see how it comes out. Then we'll slightly tilt it up as you start to see the foam come up. And some people like to leave just maybe about a 1/2 inch in the bottom to get the sediment, and try that. Not a bad pour, if I do say so myself. So let me move that over here. And on the back there is a fish logo with a ring in his mouth, and you can see that's kind of like the line where you would plan to pour it. Now, what I would like to say, this 6 month one did not have as much head as I was expecting it to. I really thought that it was going to foam up a little bit more. I poured these in the past and the foam is huge. So I guess my pour was pretty good. I'm looking at this now. This is super cloudy and very kind of like an amber color. I want to get a little scent real quick. It's got a little sour smell, definitely a little boozy. The foam actually settled pretty fast. I'm kind of surprised. So Orval, let's see what it's hitting for. Let's see what it's all about. Like I said, I've had this before. I love this glass. What I read online is that it was designed by the same designer of the abbey. So if you see their abbey, if you see their monastery, the design is actually similar to this glass. It has the grooves in it, and if you look at the abbey, it also has kind of similar structure to it. So great design work by the Orval Abbey. Let's go ahead and try this. Okay, so it's super creamy. That foam kind of gives it a little extra kind of niceness to it. I'm not sure how to describe it. It's definitely a lot more hoppy than any of the traditional Belgian beers. Those hop flavors, they don't stick around as much. I believe that this brewery uses hops from a different part closer to France. I don't know the details on it, but it's not the same as some of the other places. Anyways, it's very creamy, more hoppy, very bitter, and also, I must say, very dry. Now, when you have a dry beer, that's not always a good thing because it just makes you want to sip and sip and sip. So out of all of the Trappist beers, Orval is not my favorite. Some people might tell you it is the perfect beer. Some people might tell you that it is the best beer. For me, it is not my favorite Trappist. When I go to the store, it is not my go-to Trappist beer. This one here is about 6.9%. So the reason they put that percentage on there is because when it comes out of the brewing process and the bottling fermentation, it comes in at around 5.4%. And that's what makes this beer extra interesting, is because the alcohol content, the ABV, goes up as this ages. So that's why this slaps when you let it sit for about a year. I promise you that alcohol content is around 7% instead of the 5% that it comes out of the factory as. So what would I rate this beer? I don't know. I mean, it's kind of dry. Not my favorite. It's got some slight fruit notes, but not the fruit notes that I usually enjoy. But it's so complex and there's so much going on in this beer that I have to rate it high regardless if it's my favorite or not. I would probably give it maybe a 4.5 out of 5 just because any Trappist beer is usually a 5-star. This is the exception where I don't rate it a 5-star, but this is my personal opinion. You go out there and try it yourself. For all my IPA drinkers, I don't know why you're watching this video, but but if you are an IPA drinker, you might want to step your game up, save up some money, and try one of these Orvals. And the reason I brought up IPAs is because out of all of the Belgian beers that are on that level, this one has the most hops to it. This is a very bitter taste. So if you're an IPA guy and you are thinking about stepping into the Belgian beer world, this might be a good one to try. Now, these aren't beers that you sit around at a barbecue and drink. These are not beers that you watch the game on TV and drink, unless you're a super baller and you can afford a 6-pack of Orval. So that would be like $35. Yeah, this is not the beer for you at the backyard barbecue. This is the beer where you get on YouTube and you review it. This is the beer where you make a beat and you sip on it. This is not a beer you chug. Shout out Tim. Tim knows. Tim might chug it, but the real one is a beer connoisseur, and I will not chug that. Anyways, let's get into this record, man. Let me take one more sip of this, and then we're going to get into one of these records. I'm going to grab a random one, man. I am going to grab a random record that kind of pairs well with this beer, because as this beer warms up, there's more complexity to it, just like all the other ones. I am going to go to my left right here, and I am going to pull this out. I saw it in the other room, and I was looking for this record. This is KRS-One, I Got Next, with the basketball theme. Why did I pull this one out, though? Why did I pull this out? The reason I grabbed this one is because just like this beer, this is a very complex album, and it's a very unique album. It has tracks on here featuring Redman. Can't Stop, Won't Stop is the smash on here. The MC is the joint. Step Into a World, Rapture's Delight. I would consider this a classic. A Friend, Hip hop. I mean, this album here, guys, this is it right here, man. However, when I'm looking at this, there is a track on here. I don't know if this is on the full album or if it's only on the vinyl, but we got to talk about it, man, because I think what happened with this one here, let me put it here while I talk about it. So what happened here with this album, I think this might have been KRS's only attempt in his career where he kind of made a commercial track. And that track was Step Into a World, the remix. Why would I consider that his attempt at commercial hip hop? Is because there was none other than Puff Daddy on that track, pre-Diddy. But in this show, we're not going to get into Diddy. We are not going to get into Diddy. I'm just talking about the music, people. This is music. We're not going to get into his personal life. But anyways, on that remix, I'll never forget when that came out. I was like thinking to myself, this is so unnecessary. Like, what is he doing here? And then you have Angie Martinez and Redman are on this album on a track called Heartbeat. Another unnecessary track. I need to go back and listen to it. But I feel like having Puff Daddy, Angie Martinez, Redman, that was definitely Jive Records trying to maybe push him a little bit more, because I remember also on this album there was a song called A Friend, which is a classic, a true classic. But believe it or not, that song got a lot of play on Hot 97. I don't know if it got played in Chicago as much, but it was kind of, I wouldn't say crossover, because KRS-One represents real hip hop. So at that time in hip hop, it didn't cross over just yet. It was on the radio big in New York, Chicago. It was starting to jump off on the radio because this was 1996, I believe. Oh, I'm sorry, 1997. And an interesting note about this album, let me grab a sip of this before I continue on. It's very foamy. The carbonation is heavy in this one. It's really good though. But anyways, it's really good, just like this album. So what I wanted to say is this is a great album because on the back, this is why liner notes are fun. This is what I miss on Spotify. You don't have these liner notes. You don't have these credits. For his special thanks, it's really cool. He shouts out Buffy of the Fat Boys, the Human Beatbox. He shouts out Cowboy, the Furious Five. So basically, all of his special thanks are people in the hip hop industry who passed away before 1997. And back then, this was still a lot of people that passed away. After that, a lot of people passed away. But the shout outs that he gave was Buffy, Cowboy, Eazy-E, Master Don, Mercury of the Force MCs, Notorious B.I.G., Prince Messiah, Scott LaRock, Stretch, Sugar Shaft of X-Clan, MC Trouble, Trouble T. Roy, and of course Tupac Shakur. So you got to understand the timing of this album was right after Tupac and Biggie East Coast West Coast beef. So hip hop was in a bad place when this came out, 1997. I think around that time, like the underground scene started popping off, and hip hop was changing. But KRS-One has never changed, and that's why I broke out this record, man. Because KRS-One has never changed, just like I have never changed. I keep it real. I try to be true to this culture. And Orval beer is true to who they are, you know. So be true to yourself and you will never fall. So that's all I have to say in today's episode, man. But yeah, once again, do not chug a $6 Belgian beer. I mean, it's unnecessary. And sometimes you can hold it like this, like a glass of wine. You know, you can kind of just admire the glass, man. There's a lot of artwork in this, you know. It's something that can be appreciated, man. And that's why I'm into this hobby of fine Belgian beers. So if you're into it too, thank you for joining me. I really appreciate y'all. We're going to keep it short and simple today. But we are going to ride out to an exclusive DJ Real One beat. If you'd like the shirts, this is a one of one, man. This is a one of one. You got the chalice, you got the old English font, you got the record, and you have a record here, and you got the Chicago skyline, but it can also be your skyline, whatever city you're from. So if you like the shirt, if you like what I'm doing here, thank you so much. I appreciate y'all. Check out that shop and check out the live mixes. Check it all out, man. Welcome to DJ Real One's world. And this has been another episode of Belgian Beer and Beats. And on that note, peace, y'all.